PKN, episode 141. I'm back. Which
not in the hotel.
No, not in the hotel. Oh my gosh. Let's circle back to that. I had a first time.
No, not hotel, motel. You didn't get a hotel.
No, I didn't.
We're motel people now.
I don't care much for motel folk. I always bring the extra, I don't know. Honestly, it's in like the hundreds of cents to go from motel to hotel for the night, and so I don't even consider it. Like when I see stuff on the side of the road that says something motel, it doesn't even register in my brain as an option. It doesn't until I see like a Marriott or at least something I recognize, where I know I'm not, one drunk driver away from being careened into.
You never stay at like Maybell's Inn and Court.
This was Vintage Inn.
No,
That's what it was called.
In the car.
Vintage Inn in I think Lake Wales. And I have a feeling that everyone else staying there was train folk. That's my theory. Or bus folk. They're bus folk in there.
Train folk and motel folk are one and the same. They are tight.
Chiz says train folk are high end and that we are mislabeling them. It's bus folk that we're thinking of. And they are the Vintage Inn
I don't
customers.
know what sort of railway industrialists Chiz is coming across on these there's no he talks about these rich people sitting on trains guffawing and talking about business deals. Like they've got, if they're real big businessmen, they're on a plane.
No, they're Rockefellers doing business deals stuck in 1915.
We're oil men.
Oil men thinking this is how it's done.
Our next contract meeting is
Carnegie was in the car next door.
Yeah. Oh, there's Vanderbilts, Carnegies, and Rockefellers all over this joint. Just still doing business the old school way. So when does childhood end? That was what I was going to lead with. When if you were to pick a date or an event or whatever that ends your childhood, is it high school graduation? Is it a first sexual experience? No. Is it when you have a job you can't lose? When does childhood end?
That's an interesting question. Yeah,
I think it's whenever you start making the big choices in your own life. Whenever you take command of the path of your own life and starts providing for yourself and doing all of the things that are normally done for a child. Whenever you take control of that, then you're no longer. That's when childhood ends. And for some people, that happens when they're like 13 years old or something. Like I don't know if it's a real thing, but it's certainly something that you see in like every TV drama ever. But
Oral has to be an adult very early. Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, the oldest sibling raised like 4 younger kids or something like that. Like how many times do you see that in like a Law and Order episode or whatever?
Casey
I've never seen that in my life.
Casey Neistat. I don't know if you guys know him, very successful YouTuber. I think he had his first kid at like 17, and he like dropped out of high school and started providing for it. So it's not a year, right? It's I don't know. I guess I was thinking to myself, one of the candidate dates is when you're not in high school anymore. Because as a college kid, a child, are they in their childhood? It's something else.
No.
Yeah, that almost feels like a different term. I was almost thinking childhood, like thinking of actual children.
It's 18 or
like
less.
If you get to the age, I was thinking childhood ends. I was thinking of childhood as like that time where you don't even have the capacity to give a fuck what like adults and people care about around you, and like so up to like, I don't know, even that depends on the age, but let's say up to like 9 or maybe 10 before you like start having that internal monologue of like, what are all the girls going to think if I do this? Or, oh man, she's really cute. I have to change my behavior. Whereas just like 8 months before that, you're like, what are you going to do? I'm going to pretend to be a dragon in public. I don't give a fuck.
Leave it to like the gold medal winner of the puberty event to say childhood ends at 10.
Well, I'm just saying like that's not me. That's an average amount of, I'm sure most 10-year-olds think like that too. Like No?
Maybe most. I don't know. I just know when I was 10, I was still fucking 10. I was really 10. Girls were so icky, and
that's the funniest way to say it. When I was 10, I was fucking 10. Like Pokemon card trading.
Yeah, it was G.I. Joe at the time, but the concept holds.
Same concept. But yeah, I don't know. Because I liked your barometer of like the first time. I think it's the first time you're on your own and you have control over your own kind of cycles and everyday habits. Because even up to like 18, I doubt that Hope was like, all right, I'm heading out for my own dinner. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do all this. It was like, hey, you're going to come home, and then I at least have control over your diet somewhat, so you're not just eating, you know, vanilla milkshakes all day. Like, I think like that childhood ending is going to be next year when she has control of all those daily operations. So if she wants to eat nothing but, you know, vanilla ice cream all day, she can. And then that'll be a valuable learning experience. I ate far too many cheese and chicken quesadillas in the area near my dorm my freshman year because I realized they were so cheap on this fucking point system, which is basically like, hey, pay this huge amount of money for a ton of meal plans. And they're like, well, this food costs fucking nothing to make because it's not high quality. So here, have 1 billion points. You're never going to make your money back, idiot. So then you go in, and I'd be like, all right, give me 10 quesadillas. And I went through like a couple weeks where that was my primary sustenance. And it was like every bowel movement was an emergency. It was horrible. and you learn, and that was me grasping the reins of adulthood, and then realizing like, hey, you know what, Taylor, maybe all those people talking about nutrition weren't just trying to be down on your food choices.
It's funny, in my freshman year, it wasn't eating poorly because I was an athlete, so like you know, the fuel I put into myself, I would consider myself too good for anything with bubbles in it, right? Like that kind of shit just doesn't make it in this temple. However, taking care of my own medical needs, like I would have strep throat and just assume that would like take care of itself, and I was really poor there. I could hardly swallow or breathe, and it was like, right, Mom doesn't make these decisions for me, and Woody makes them poorly, so. It was me.
I think that's a good line. Is that what you think, Kyle?
I don't think it's a particular age or anything like that. Because you know, what about those child soldiers? Their fucking childhood ends at like 8 or something when they get that 8K and they blow their mom and dad away in that hut. It's over.
Yes.
There's no getting that back. So you can't be like, oh yeah, it always ends at 15 or 13 or 12. It's whenever shit changes and you start being your own person and making your own decisions, like you said. Like, then there's you know, day-to-day decisions like, am I going to eat breakfast today? You know, there was a long time when like every night at 8, like a lady was just going to make you wash your fucking face, you know, and then all of a sudden she ain't around no more, and you're like, you look at that washcloth and just throw it in the fucking trash can, like, fuck you,
no more,
and, you know, and. That's when you're not a child anymore, when you throw the proverbial washcloth in the trash.
And grow your pimples like a man.
Whatever. You know, you get yourself a loofah. No, you get yourself a loofah and a skincare regimen like a man.
Okay.
I never understood the value of a washcloth or like I've never really
That's
used
a white thing.
Them. A white thing?
Yeah.
That we don't use them?
It's my understanding that black people think we are disgusting for applying the soap directly to our body. And that someone else uses that soap after you, and you're sharing a level of intimacy that you just prefer not to think about. Whereas if you had a washcloth, then there would be some sort of transfer there and maybe a new washcloth.
It's been so long since I've just got into a shower and there was a bar of Ivory soap sitting there that I assumed many people were sharing. Like, there's always product. There's always shampoos and shit. Like, I know nobody's using my stuff because, like, if I'm sharing a shower with someone, there's going to be my stuff there and then her stuff there or whatever. Like, it's going to be pumps.
It'll be easy to figure it out too, because Taylor's bar of the soap is the one with the 5 o'clock shadow.
Right.
Yeah.
His hair
it's
sprinkling
over there
everywhere.
in the corner with the afro. Yeah, it's like the opposite side of Velcro over there, just in the corner, all gross.
Taylor's soap has jazz hands.
I like the washcloth.
Yeah.
I like the washcloth or something. You need something, but not necessarily between you and the soap, but to supplement the cleaning process. So sometimes that's a washcloth. Like if it's just a normal day and I haven't like gotten filthy, like a bar of soap and me scrubbing will probably get it done. But like if I've been like riding off road on an ATV and like mud has been sprayed onto my body, like there's some scrubbing that needs to be done. So a washcloth would be great. But I've got one of those girly loofah things that's like pink and floofy. And I use that, and I've also got like this big thing that's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's a loofah that goes across my back, and I pull either end and sort of do like a sawing motion
like
across
a pool
my
noodle.
back. Yeah, like a kind of, but it's like a big long washcloth with like handles on either end that you pull back and forth like an old timey saw, and I use that on my back to exfoliate back there.
Every time I go into tell me if you get the same thought process, because every time I like go to someone's house and I take a shower in their house, or it doesn't matter, and I see like supplementary shower equipment, like if me and Kyle got dirty shooting and I was like, hey, use this shower, and I got in there and I saw your you know, jazzercise band that you use to fucking scrub your back.
What it looks
Like I always, or like loofahs or weird shaped things. I always wonder, like, how fucking dirty is this person that they need
Really?
all of this stuff
It's
to
the
scour
opposite.
themselves?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm the opposite. I
It's
think
the opposite.
every time we talk about like hygiene and cleaning, Kyle just gets cleaner, right? He's just there's more equipment, there's more gels and soaps and what I imagine right now if I walked into that room, it would smell slightly of lavender. You know, like he just has a thing.
There's flowers right over here. Yeah, it smells very nice in here. You start sneezing right away.
Yeah, you know, I had an allergy test and it said I wasn't allergic to anything. But God,
Lies.
yeah, right?
That's a bad test.
Ask them if they've tested for 1-800-Flowers bouquets.
I think they
fucking cryptic.
I think they put perfume on those flowers, so there's another thing it could have been, because they were really fragrant. Yeah, and my wife, like, I'm like, let's decorate the porch with the flowers. I think they look nice there, and she's like, no, you're not allergic to these.
Right?
You know, it's like this one doesn't bother you, and it's like, woman, like I haven't stopped coughing and sneezing since they entered the home, like 2 months ago. I don't want to mess around. Don't fuss with the recipe. So yeah.
Yeah, I like to get clean though, and I feel like when you're in the shower, you might as well like do a good job. Like you're gonna be in there, like don't just get wet. So when I come out of there, like I'm all red, like my skin is red from the hot water, and it hurts a little. And then there's like 5 minutes of moisturization where I'm getting that cocoa butter really worked in. And you know, I'm just softer and smoother everywhere than normal people.
I'm the worst at remembering to moisturize or anything, because I take, like you do, extremely hot showers to the point that you get out and your skin's red, but it feels so good, like while you're in there the whole month. I like taking long showers, and it dries your skin out badly, as I'm sure you know with your skin regimen. And I like once every 4 months there will just come a cracking point, basically, where I'm just like, all right, we're going to get some fucking Jergens or some sort of long-lasting thing, and then I do that for like a week after showers, and then it repeats. Yeah, I'm like halfway through the cycle currently.
I use like this cocoa butter lotion that's totally meant for black people. Just elbows, just everywhere, really. Like I like to really get it working everywhere and just be nice and moisturized. And I just have a nice glow about me throughout the day. I'm real happy with it.
I don't lotion almost ever, but I also, if Taylor's right, I don't take showers that hot either. My showers are cold enough that, you know, when I do shower with Jackie, not like we do it every day, but she's unhappy with the temperature. She's just like,
that's how
it is freezing in here. Yeah,
that's when you know you actually do take really hot showers, is when you shower with someone else and like you do the whole, all right, ready, switch, and then you do the switch into the water, and they're just like, oh fuck. It's like, no, it feels good. It feels, oh no, writhing. It's like, well, gonna give it 30 seconds because it's not a great heater. You know, it's gonna 30 seconds. Like,
when I set the temperature in a shower, I pull they're all different, of course, and if you've stayed in enough hotels, you know, some of them are just annoyingly different. They just made it more complicated than it ever should be. But, you know, I turn it all the way to hot as we can make things, and then I back off just the tiniest increment that's even possible, and I touch it. And if that's it, then that's it. But I'll back off tiny increments until I can take it, and that's where I want my shower. When I get out, like one of the things that I try to time things so they're, you know, most done in the most efficient way possible or the easiest way possible, because I'm lazy like that. So if I know I'm going to be clipping my nails, then you definitely want a hot shower, because when you get out, your nails are all bendy and supple, and when you clip them, they don't break off into like shards and with jagged edges and stuff.
Wow, I don't think I've ever melted my nails in the shower.
Yeah, when you get out, your nails should be so soft that when you clip them, they don't even make a noise. They just go slip.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
No, my nails should be more like clipping a dog's nails, where like, you know, and then they shoot somewhere. You're right. So Colin turned 14 today. Holy smokes. That is a big number. Like his father, never shaved, doesn't need to. There's no hint that maybe he should shave, or that there's really no evidence of puberty yet. I'm exaggerating a little, but
well, that is a specter that comes quickly. So
Oh,
be wary of the
I
hairy specter,
wish.
because it just be one month. You're just like, man, I'm starting to get a little hairy, and then another month,
and then you're a man grown.
and then you are a man grown.
Yeah,
Or
and it's time to go into the fighting pits.
I hear you, and I believe that's how it went for you. Not for me. No. There were just hints of hair, like parts of my shin would have hair, not parts of the other head. I remember Kyle at one point, I described the two patches of crabgrass above my junk, and Kyle's like, what he's describing a stage of puberty that I don't even remember. Yeah, well, you didn't do puberty in slow motion. Each one of these phases.
Yeah, puberty like the wolf man in those like stop frame, like stop the camera, put a little more fur on it. Like,
Yeah. Oh, piece by piece, like I waited months, maybe a year, for the crabgrass above my dick to finally bridge that gap and become like a man's.
What most people do with sideburns. They're hoping their sideburns connect to their beard. And you're like, I just hope my pubic hair connects.
Yep.
That is such a Danny DeVito dick. It's just like the two tufts right there. Oh,
Exactly.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
But it happens to. That was a weird thing in like 8th and 9th grade, even at the time, because over the course of like 3 months at that age, someone could change completely. You know what I mean? Like a girl could go from totally ugly to be like, oh, she's climbing up these attractiveness rankings. She's going to be a popular kid in no time. Like, right, these tits are growing. Like next Tuesday, she's going to be in. Like that kind of progression. That was such a weird time. No wonder everybody was so insecure. Everybody's growing so quickly next to each other.
Growing quickly, did you?
Everybody's growing at different rates because everyone, whatever.
Yeah. It's pretty good PKN
good
so
for
far.
Colin.
Yeah, 14 years old. It just, something about that number seems really big to me. I don't know. Like 13 and under just seems so kiddie. 13's a teenager, but like, I don't know. It's not like the other teen years. 14 is like, dude, well, I mean, like scores posted, he's in his teens. They just.
I remember thinking that exact same thing in 8th grade, like when I turned 14 or 9th, whenever you turn 14.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'm in. People could have said before, like, you're only 13. And I was like, no, now I'm actually a teenager now. I'm a year in, motherfucker. Like, I don't know why in my head I was like, yeah, this is the big day.
Yeah, it does seem like somehow 13. Of course, it depends on the kids, because I remember with Hope, we would sometimes call her 12 teen, and it was really pretty appropriate. At 12 years old, she was that.
I love that.
That was the heart. I don't know what's funny about.
This reminds me of the Louis C.K. joke.
I don't know.
He's all right. So he's talking about like he was like. I might have the genesis of the whole thing wrong, but basically he's like listening to the news and he's hearing people talk about the 9/11 deniers, and it starts like going through his head over and over, and he's like, what if they were the 9/11 deniers? Not people who denied 9/11 or thought it was a conspiracy or anything, but 9 individuals who denied that there even was a number 11. And he gives him the black accent. He's like, we are the 9/11 deniers. We don't believe in that shit. What happened to 12-teen? Or whatever he says. Something like 11-teen. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
Anyway, I hope at 12, that was the year that I found her most difficult to get along with. That was the year that she was just in full like teen kind of pushback, growing away, needing
full
elbow
rebellion.
room, full rebellion, yeah. And then, I would say after that, like the maturity started to ease in, and she was just easier to work with. But Colin at 12 was just a kid. Anyway, kids. Someday, one or both of you will see two, or none,
or neither.
Well, definitely.
I'll certainly
0, 1, or 2. I'm sure that part I have locked in. What were you saying, Kyle?
Own a fine dog someday. He'll do tricks.
No, just like we've talked about this before. Like adopting a kid, like swooping in on an eBay purchase. Like you wait for a kid who like has a lot of promise athletically, or really really smart or something, and he made it to like 13 or something without being adopted, and then he's like an old dog, and everybody's like, oh, that's like sad and everything, but take me to the section I'm going to purchase from, please. I'm going to be the guy who goes and shops around that section.
Yeah.
Co-opt it. It's almost going to be like a business. Well, it can't be legally. It won't be a business. It'll be a loving family. But it
wink, wink. I'm not totally using him for his NFL money.
Tax deduction.
Taylor, deduction. I have made a decision, by the way. I'm going to root for 2 hockey teams this year. One is whoever's currently playing the Penguins, and then I'll root for them throughout. The other is the Blues. I'm getting kind of excited about them. I did not realize how strong they were down the backstretch of the regular season. I haven't seen. I've seen some of the games because it gets streamed on the internet a little bit here and there. But when the Canes won, I was watching these players like take block after block after block, and there's a certain like attitude of like trying to win that wins.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Blues I'm like, does Taylor realize that this could be the year? It was Taylor happy about trading away good players just so they could suck harder and get better draft picks 4 months ago. And I'm like, I think he really miscalled this one. They could win the cup. They really could win their first cup this year. Like they have as good a shot as anybody.
But you're missing Taylor's style, though. Taylor hasn't fully acknowledged that Donald Trump won yet. He's still leaving it out there that Hillary Clinton might pull this
Michigan
one out.
was close.
Could sneak back. Bernie's not out of this yet.
Lower the expectations. Tamp them down where they belong.
See, the Blues, I have confidence. They played so well against Minnesota. Our goalie was good.
Good? Was he good?
Our goalie was exceptional. And it's going to be a goalie duel between us and Nashville, because Chicago obviously got swept. They only scored 2 goals the entire series. That's pretty embarrassing. So Rene, their goalie's doing pretty good.
Who would you say is the hottest goalie on the planet right now?
Either Allen or Rene. So either one of those goalies can say. I think technically Rene's stats in the first round were a little bit higher than Allen's, like as far as save percentage. But Allen had to play 5 games and Rene only had to play 4. So who knows? But I feel good about the Blues. But being like, do I know this could be the year? This could be the one? Like, if you've already set foot on that slope, you've slipped down it. Like, the Blues' slippery slope of success is like you get psyched for this, and then they do something else and shit the bed. Every single Blues season is like a M. Night Shyamalan movie.
There's a difference, Taylor. I'm on your bandwagon this time.
I know.
And that is a good thing, because my shit occasionally wins. I'm telling you.
That's true.
I've watched the Flyers win several times. I've watched the Canes win. I've had luck here and there personally. We can do this.
I should bandwagon the Penguins.
Oh yeah! That would be so great if you could help me out there a little bit. Just root for the Penguins and end their season. That would be wonderful.
To do that. If the Penguins beat the Caps again, I'm going to be so disappointed. Like, it's getting ridiculous. The Caps getting beat by the Penguins every single time.
Ovechkin needs to show babyface who the real best player in the league is.
Yeah, they just need to hope that Crosby gets injured, or
that's something.
Or Crosby isn't even their best player right now as far as stats go. Malkin is playing like he's out of his mind right now. He has like 8 points in 5 games or something, 4 games.
Seems like every couple of seasons that question gets brought up again. Like, you know what? Hey, Malkin's better than Crosby this year. Like, this is not the first time.
Yeah, he's not actually the better player by many metrics, but he is it's annoying that the Penguins have Crosby, and then their second line center who is Malkin is also better than pretty much every center in the league other than Crosby, and maybe a handful, maybe 4 other ones in there, maybe. But he's great. I wish we had someone like him, but I don't know. We got Stasny back, our good center, so we won that.
You might win that up quick. You might win a face-off now and then.
Now we'll win face-offs every so often. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. So tomorrow night's the first game between the Blues and Preds, and I get nervous, even though it doesn't affect me at all. Like, when they do win eventually, whether it's now or when I'm 98, I won't make it to 98, but when I'm 60, still be fun. But I don't know. I have such a hard time having faith in him. But we got a new coach, and that's what I'm holding on to. Mike Yao. He is the best coach in the world at making the Minnesota Wild fail because he lost in the first round for, 4 straight years as the head coach of the Minnesota Wild. First year as the coach of the St. Louis Blues, plays the Minnesota Wild in the first round and humiliates them, and they get booted out again. So at his hands, they've lost like 6 years in a row in the first round. They can't be happy with Mr. Yao.
That's great.
So
hey, I just got back. I'm thinking about, like, I haven't edited my footage yet. I took some videos, but if they're gonna call it like adult summer camp or paramotor summer camp, because that's effectively what I did. I went to summer camp for paraholics, and it was my like personal version of an ideal vacation. I was really excited about it. They were talking me through acrobatic moves and thermaling and all sorts of really cool stuff. So I don't know.
Thermaling? What was that?
So
looking for critters on the ground.
So I just want to just so you know, I thought this might be a paraholic. Is someone who
that's a real thing.
Yeah, they enjoy exploring cemeteries and graveyards and looking at and seeking out paranormal activities and phenomenon.
Yeah, that's
already
not,
taken.
I'm
Unfortunately,
a different kind of paraholic. Anyway, so thermaling. I'll try not to get. I know people don't. I was going to segue this into fitness talk, but what I did is, first thing you need to know: the sun doesn't heat the air. Seems weird. Sun heats the ground. Ground heats the air. So now you have hot air at the bottom that wants to rise. And thermaling is when you find this hot air using indicators like birds using that thermal already, or maybe you can just visually look and say, aha, that's a black asphalt parking lot. It's probably really hot. There should be some air rising. Stuff like that. There's a handful of indicators you might use. I turned my motor on. We flew at like 12:30 p.m., like after lunch. And I went up to about 300 feet, turned the motor off, and then just found rising air to get to 2,600 feet. And then I lost it and went down, found some more rising air, got back up to 2,600 feet. And then I realized a strap was fucked up and I should have checked my pre-flight more carefully. So I flew back home before I died. But it was really neat just to fly around like for a while. I don't know, 40 minutes with the motor off, finding rising air.
What's the level of noise like up there with the motor off?
It's quiet. It's quiet. There's a little wind. I took off. I wear like hearing protection. It's attached to my helmet. You take one off, and it sounds like Jedi bullshit or something, but you can kind of feel the air, whether it's going up or down around you. Like it's more sensitive than the rest of your body. So like just sort of using one ear, I'm like detecting whether the air is coming up or down. Whether it's
your ear's wet and sweaty because you took the muff off.
That could be. I think it's just pressure sensitive or something. I don't know. But most people who do this have a Vario, and it makes high-pitched beeps as you're going up and low-pitched beeps as you're going down, and that's the hint. But I didn't have a Vario, so I just used, like, spidey senses.
Sounds like a very panicky way to control your elevation. No matter what happens, it's beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Beep, 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 beep.
Beep, 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 when things are going well, and boop, 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 boop. Like, people turn it off. It's so, because they're looking for lift. And that boop, 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 boop means, like, you're failing. It's just like, fail. And they're like, fuck you. Like, I'm coming in for a landing. I don't want to hear your bullshit. But anyway, I was at Paramotor Summer Camp, which, like, in my opinion, passed for exercise over the last 10 days. And now that I'm home, I have to figure something out. I kind of thought I was going to jump on the kettlebell thing, but here's my approach towards home fitness, and you guys can be happy to weigh in. The best exercise equipment is the one you use, right? So, if you look at, like, there's, like, the exercise bikes that have your hands in it, too.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. That's a pretty good whole body workout. But if you don't use it, it's pretty terrible as a whole body workout. You might do better off with a kettlebell. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what do I want to do? What would give me the results I'm looking to achieve? I think I might just run. I think that might be, like, in terms of, like, what I want to change about my body, I think running might be the best way to go. Maybe I'll just start with running if it gets hot or something.
Well, that's a good way to do it. Like, you see kind of what you want to do, and maybe running's that. Like this I like this kettlebell thing because I'm trying to lose fat and also just kind of tone more. But if I was trying to get, like, bulky, obviously I'd have to get like a whole different setup and do just, less reps, more weight. But I like how this is more cardio. And at the end of the day, I fucking hate running. Like I hate it. And I can't stress, I'm gonna say it a third time, I hate running. Yeah, I would have lasted till season 2 of Walking Dead and said, fuck it, enough.
Yeah,
enough
great.
with this. I'm checking out. Too much cardio. But this, like, you get that when you do some of these like swing exercises, you're getting like that lung burn and you're breathing heavy and you're sweating real hard. And so you're getting some cardio work, but at the same time, you're not running. So I don't know. I'm liking it so far, and I am using it a lot. And so it fits that criteria of the best ones are the ones you use. Because you can, like, if I had as much space as you guys had, I'd love to get like a setup like Kyle has. You sent me some pictures of all the stuff you've got, and that'd be great. But like, I'm sure it's hard to make yourself go down there and use that stuff sometimes. Often.
I'm already down here, so like that's where I am now. I'm downstairs now, so I like it. I like having all the workout equipment in one end of the house, and like having an actual gym, because like once I go in there, it's hard to like get distracted and like pick up a cell phone or like play with a video game or do anything else, because like everything that's in that room makes you work out. Like there's like heavy bags, and there's nothing in there that's like a pleasure thing that you just sit down and play with. Everything in there's to be hit or lifted or pressed or something. So
do you have a TV that you watch or something that you do while you do it, or you just
music?
I
maybe?
listen. Yeah, I put books or audiobooks or the news, something like that I can kind of zone out and just kind of focus on that.
What's
and not focus on how awful what I'm doing.
Is it conservative talk radio?
No,
okay.
It's like 4 or 5 different XM channels. It's CNN, Fox News, POTUS. I listen to Patriot some, and that is conservative, but it's like a mix of like all the conservative guys. So I tune in when the not so out. I listen to Rush every now and then just because he's entertaining. Like Rush Limbaugh's fucking entertaining. But yeah, I mix it up a lot. Just whatever the headline is, or like I'll switch around. I like the live speaking stuff. Whenever Sean Spicer or even some senators talking, I want to hear that. But yeah, stuff that not music, not zone out like listen to the Backstreet Boys or.
Have you given your 30-pound kettlebell a go yet?
It's the worst. Oh, it's the worst. I ordered an extra for both of them because they're so much better for like farmers carries, like just holding 2 heavy things and walking. And I like to do that and go up and down the stairs. And the kettlebell's perfect for that because it doesn't hurt my hand nearly as much as my barbells do. So I ordered another 20 and another 30. I like them a lot. I'm really fucking sore most of the time now.
I was looking at barbells. I spent some time doing that, and I always thought I'd get the kind where you can like dial the weight. And I had seen them, and I was like, oh, I'll get that. That seems perfect. They don't take a lot of room, and they're whatever. They're more expensive than I had guessed. Like
$700 or something.
Well, a little less. So $600 is the. It sounds stupid, the Stairmaster ones, but they actually look like the best ones, and they're $600. Bowflex makes some; they're like $300, and then you can get less than that, but not a lot less, like $200. And then you get people fussing about things breaking, and
and it's not worth getting a cheap one and having a weight break.
I think it's a scam. And I'm not a fucking personal trainer or anything. I don't fucking know. But like an average weight that I'm gonna lift, I'm never gonna lift less than 15 pounds. I like having 15-pound free weights because like how many 15-pound curls do you think you can do? You'd be surprised how few it is, and you'd be surprised how much you burn after doing a 120, 130, 15-pound fucking curls. Or if you're doing like I don't know how much weight if you put your arm like straight out from your body and lift like that with palm down, it's really weak. So like a 15-pound weight is what I want if I'm gonna do like I don't know 10 reps and then 4 sets of that or something like that. After you do 40 of these, it's like it's burning so much in your shoulder that it's all you can take.
The Bowflex ones, I don't know what the lightest weight is. It might be 7.5, and it goes up to 52.5, I think. And 52.5, like if you wanted to do like the equivalent of a bench press, would be about the right weight for you.
Yeah, but that's a whole different weight. Like if we're going for free weights, what I was going to say is like what I have, I guess is what I'm saying is I've got 2 15s, 2 25s, 2 35s, and I don't think I've ever wanted anything more than that because like 35-pound curls are pretty serious. And if I want to go
But then you
more than
augment that with a whole bench and like
yeah,
you know, so if you were trying to, you know, if I just had like a pair of Bowflex dumbbells and the two of them covered 7.5 to 50, then I feel like I could avoid decorating with exercise equipment.
although you do need that bench now. If you have this aspiration of doing like bench press, like butterflies and stuff
Right,
like
right.
that, then now we've added a bench. And since we've added the bench, now we're taking up exactly the same amount of space as a bench press, because the bench press goes over the bench. You know, they slide and save space and stuff and fold up. So you
Yeah, now
know,
you're right about back where you were. I hear you. I don't know. I haven't figured it out. I think step one is just a pair of running shoes.
totally, yeah, that's all it
Yeah,
is.
get a pair of
Yeah.
running shoes. Get your ass out there while it's still cool in the morning.
It's going to change your whole like body and brain chemistry. If you jog every morning, you know, like a mile every morning for the next 2 months, you're going to be a totally different feeling person after that. Like we used to run every morning in gym, and I remember thinking like, I hate this, but I'm glad we're doing it, because every day like by the time I'm done, I'm like, ooh, I feel good after doing that. I feel stretched out. My lungs feel like they're cleaner. I don't know. It feels good.
There have been times in my life where I exercised a lot, and the foods I craved were good ones, right? You know, if you lay on the couch all day, the foods you crave are like Frito-Lays. If
Yeah,
you
salt and sugar.
exercise all day, the foods you crave are like what I call George Foreman chicken. You can imagine it's just plain chicken on the
I crave like peanut butter and like
grapes,
meat and
yeah,
like good stuff. Yeah.
fruits and vegetables and meats, and you know, I'm not so much like I want ice cream or whatever. So I think I've just finalized that decision. I'm gonna start off with some running shoes. I'm gonna my BPAP machine or CPAP. It's similar to that. It's my sleep is better now. Like one cool thing is I need less of it. You know, when you get terrible sleep, 8 hours isn't enough. You know, I'll whatever sleep and wake up all night for 8 hours and then need a nap that day. That's what happens when your sleep sucks. Now I get 5.5, and it's like I didn't need more. I'm fine. I
Yeah.
can rock all day on 5.5 hours of
Yeah,
outstanding
yeah,
sleep.
that's me too. I was watching something the other day about monkeys, and they were talking about how this particular kind of monkey, they worked together so that they could sleep in safety at night, and the different ways that monkeys achieved that. Some of them went down in caves, and some of them huddled together to get warmth in the trees. But anyway, the end effect that they were saying is, he's like, our brains need REM sleep. And during REM sleep, you know, you're rejuvenating your brain. You're making it a much more effective brain. And so the monkeys that could get their REM sleep are better monkeys. They get their jobs done better. So it just makes sense that more effective sleep is better for you. You need less of it. I
Yeah.
feel like I need about 6. Like if I get 6 hours of sleep, I'm good to go. Especially if I supplement that with a cup of coffee to start the day, and then maybe another cup of coffee about midday. To just but if there's ever a point where I have nothing to do and it's 3 p.m. and I have time to think about like sitting down and going to sleep, oh, it's nap time then.
I think 6 is probably great for me. But it used to be if I got 5.5, I knew that was like a dangerous day. You know, a day where I could fall asleep while driving, where I would just be dragging that
Oh,
afternoon.
wow.
Yeah,
From 5.5 hours, you might fall asleep driving.
Yeah, I would, you know, and heaven forbid, like I sit down in a place warm because I'm falling asleep like an 80-year-old. Now 5.5, yeah, it's fine. You know, I can rock all day on 5.5 hours, and that's new to me, so that's pretty cool.
I'm incredibly jealous of all those people who can do what you described, where you're just in a slightly warmer than normal room and you just doze off immediately. Like I wish every time I'm in a waiting room or anything like that, and I see somebody who's like tactically sleeping, which is like, all right, I've got 18 minutes to burn, and they're just out. It's like, God damn, like good for you. Like I can't do that. Like I cannot. It takes me so fucking long to fall asleep.
I would have so I went to night school, and you know, this is a time in my life when I worked like every minute, and so I drive to night school. I pull in the parking lot, and I'd be like, just like you said, you know, I have 18, 24 minutes that. Like I could nap, and I would consistently. I just like I had an alarm, a watch that was super easy to just like set the alarm 12 minutes from now, 18 minutes from now, and that's what I do. I just push a little timer forward, take a nap, wake up by watch, and then go to class. And Yeah, if I had a superpower at the time, it was just falling asleep in a hurry.
I mean, that's a good superpower. It sounds stupid, but that's really useful.
I mean,
Yeah.
Spider-Man's not looking to trade with me, but it's better than none. Yeah, it's
better than having to go to school that much and not getting any sleep.
I was looking at protein powder on Amazon the other day, and I was looking at different flavors
Does
and
that
stuff.
make you gain weight too?
Yeah. I guess you're asking if it's got a lot of like useless calories. I don't think so.
I think
You
I
can
would
get,
want
like,
nothing to do with that. That's just not in my goals.
I think there's a difference between because I have protein powder and I used protein powder like when I worked out years ago. I've never used mass gainer or like weight
that's
gainer.
different. Yeah.
I know that has a lot of protein too, but I think that's what you take if you're actually trying to bulk up.
Bulk
real bit.
up,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I did like no research. You did research into the protein powder because I basically just clicked on the one with the best reviews and was because it's all protein.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was going somewhere with the protein thing, but like what I've always read, and I'm sure you probably know the exact amount, like how many grams of protein per pound that you weigh are you supposed to intake per day if you're trying to gain muscle? Like it's like 5 grams of protein per pound of body mass.
It's like 1 to 1.5 grams per pound. Yeah.
Okay.
So you'd want to eat like if you weighed like 200 pounds, like around 200, I guess.
Yeah.
Were you going somewhere with that?
Well, I was just gonna say that to Woody. Like he was saying, like, well, I don't need any extra protein, but I was just saying that like they say that you need a bunch. It seems like whenever I'm trying to work out, it's like I'm always trying to like get more in. It's like it's a chore to eat as much as is like recommended. But when I was looking for the protein powder, I found cricket protein powder. They grind up crickets.
Oh.
What?
And it's
I literally thought it had to do with the Always Sunny character.
no, it's fucking ground up like powdered cricket protein powder. Yeah. And then that took me down this terrible like rabbit hole of edible bugs and all of the different edible bugs that Amazon sells, from candied scorpions to just bags of waxy mealworms with reviews about how the nacho cheese flavor isn't as good as barbecue. It's gross. These people are eating insects by the bushel, apparently. Like, where are they even coming from? There's big bags of crickets you can buy and all kinds of flavors.
Man, why put yourself through this? 100%. Here, I'll link it. 100% cricket powder. You'll have to tell me if this is what you saw, Kyle. It's in this bag. It's not even in like a tub, like the other. The one I can't read it.
That's it.
It just says whey protein on the one I bought.
Yeah, that cricket powder is what I was looking at last night.
Wow.
But yeah, I almost always use some kind of protein powder. I like to take because I know I should be eating calories, period, if I'm trying to work out and stuff, but I don't eat breakfast. So it's just really, really easy and makes a lot of sense to replace.
I don't know why I'm surprised, but cricket powder is pretty affordable. You know?
Right?
Right? Like, I should have saw that coming, really. But
I should have known because they're fucking crickets. Wait, how much does a cricket cost? They're free. You just need to catch them.
That's because they're competing with chocolate flavored eggs. Like they're competing with like pancake batter. Like of course it's cheap. Like all the other protein powder for the most part tastes good. Like I like the like vanilla chocolate. I usually don't care. It's
Look
tasty.
at this. They don't even have like flavors put on there. It's like their team, their marketing team is like, so should we put like vanilla on there? And they're like, no. These people have made their choice. Like, they're getting cricket powder flavor. They're getting crushed up heads and legs flavor.
I think you like mix it in with like batter and like cook things with it. Like I was reading about this last night. It was like 3 a.m. I'm not sure if I retained all of this because I was just shocked and I couldn't tell if it was some of the reviews were bullshit. Like I was looking at this other I was looking at where you could buy whole chickens on Amazon. And it was like for $7 per chicken, you get like 8 chickens for $56. And they were showing these pictures of these chickens, and you know the chickens had credentials. And I was like, God damn! Everybody says 5 stars. This is the best chicken I've ever tasted. Should I order a half dozen chickens and you know have them frozen and cook these things in the slow cooker or roast them or whatever? This would be great. And then I start reading, and one guy was like, "This is inhumane and sick. I got 6 live chickens and a knife." And I started thinking, and he fooled me. I believed him.
I did too.
Like, right? It was plausible to me. I was like, oh my fucking God, we got to read the fine details here. Are they sending? Are Are they sending live chickens to people? And if they were, I was gonna fucking click it because I could just imagine opening the Amazon Prime pantry box. And I don't know what kind of blade Amazon would send to behead chickens, but I imagine some sort of really big cigar chopper with the Amazon logo on it or something like that.
Oh man,
a machete and a log.
If they don't sell live chickens somewhere, it's only a matter of time.
And 4 or 5 good whacks.
I want to see what the benefit is to using cricket protein powder.
Well, you always hear about that, right? Like whenever like you hear someone talking about eating insects, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's full of protein, tons of protein." I think that like per pound of media substance or whatever, I think it's really ripe with protein. There's more protein.
The ingredients on this
cup of crickets than there are in whey.
The one ingredient in this is powdered small crickets, and then it says Acheta domestica. So it puts the genus, I guess, or whatever the fuck they call it, of the specific kind of crickets, because like some asshole's gonna be like, "Oh my god, do you know how endangered those are? Like those aren't your common cricket."
I think it's important.
These are a delicacy.
That are bad.
I mean,
for
look,
you.
this whole bag has 500 calories in it and only 70 grams of protein.
Oh,
this whole bag.
Wait a minute, a can of tuna has like 32 grams of protein, I think.
That protein powder over there has, if I use 2 scoops, it's 60 grams of protein, and it was
powder.
400 calories. This is worse. This is why we have whey protein and the other proteins. Science has won, crickets. You're losing this game, you cricket folk. Why do you ever wonder why humans evolved past eating bugs in most parts of the world? It's because they're like, hey, you know what? Like we have enough of the regular animals. We don't have to piss around with this anymore. They're like, oh, thank God. Like everyone's been pretending to like it for so long, and then.
I think there's chocolate-coated
fried
crickets. I think that's a thing people eat in the world. Or is it ants or spiders?
No,
I
there's
forget.
ants and spiders.
eat
If you
all of
watch
that
those Chinese documentaries on those street corners, they'll just sell you like a shish kebab scorpion that's like deep fried and stuff. If it was deep fried, I'd give it a go.
It's on Amazon. And look, before we even get into it, like I don't want to eat any bugs on the show because some people wouldn't drink titty milk with me, and so I'm putting my foot down here. But like, if you look on Amazon, there's all kinds of colored or chocolate-covered scorpions, and there's like lollipops full of flies, and anything you can imagine a way to make bugs into food. They've done it. They're barbecuing ants. They're putting French onion on like maggots, anything you can think of.
For the record, I was totally on Team Titty Milk until Jackie defined it as cheating. So my heart was with you.
You come as a pair.
Fair enough.
Oh, man. Look at this one. This is mixed bugs, like when you get mixed nuts.
Yeah, like trail
For
mix.
those people, like, when they're going to be like, oh, my God, do you want my... Let me see what this is.
My pupa.
Do you want my sago worms? I'm more of a fan of the dehydrated grasshoppers and the mole crickets. Ew, I don't like my mole crickets. Do you want my mole crickets? Oh, I love mole crickets. That's what this weird family talks like.
Mole crickets? I'm about the Arcadia domestica.
I'm at the Arcadia domestica. Well, you have to find another pouch, Woody, because I don't think those are in here.
Here we go. Look at this review.
Count me out.
Honestly, I think the preparation method for these is what ruins it. They are pretty much flavorless. And since the products are boiled and then dehydrated, all you are left with is the exoskeleton. So imagine eating nothing but egg shells or crab shells, just smaller and easier to crush. And this is basically what you have. I don't think I had a single unbroken bug in the entire bag. 1 star.
I think we should choose an item and we can all leave like terrible, like weird reviews. You know, like... I don't know. I'm just looking at this one, and they're like, "That not that bad. I bought these for my kids, and they liked them." Really?
Yeah, this guy's like, my kid loves
reviews
bugs.
are pretty funny. These 1-star reviews are pretty good. 1 star, bag of powder. Could be anything. 0 stars, dust. Every single bug was crushed beyond recognition. Complete dust. A bit disappointing. Maybe you could put it into smoothies, but that wasn't the point. So unless you think the packaging is all that you want, you can skip this.
1 star.
Tastes like ass.
1 star. Amazing if you like eating dirt. That's great.
Yuck. I have tried many exotic foods, insects, plants, animals, and this was by far the absolute worst. I had to spit it out of the mouthful. That's what it said. I had to spit out the. Yeah, okay, I misread it. I'm the retard. Don't buy it.
I like this particular Bug Gourmet. Awful. I thought it would be like eating other chapulines. Chapinines. Not even salty. Horrible aftertaste.
Not even salty. I know my bug seasonings, and you have this your Mark company.
Yeah.
You know.
I stumbled upon this. I stumbled upon the scorpions in a related search. I was looking. I had already looked at the ground up fucking crickets, but then I was like looking for candy later because I had worked out and I felt like I deserved some candy, and and I found the candied scorpion. Who's ordering this?
That's pretty cool.
A dessert
I mean, I would
scorpion.
never, ever order it.
It's so covered with chocolate. Is there a scorpion in the middle?
There's a scorpion in the
Oh,
middle.
yeah. Ingredients. The number one ingredient is scorpion. The second ingredient is sugar. Scorpion.
Would you want it to be anything else?
No. Maybe salt.
Yeah. You wouldn't want it to be like spiders
No.
or something like that. Like,
Right?
if the number one ingredient is scorpions, you're really hoping and praying that the ingredient number 2 is salt or sugar.
Yep.
No, it's,
But if
full of. It's also full of bees. Yeah.
What's your number 2 ingredient? Scorpion.
You know, like the old timey days where they'd be like, a feast. What shall we have? Well, we will slay a cow, and inside it stuff 4 lambs, inside of which there will be 2 goose, inside of which there will be 1 Cornish game hen, inside of which there will be a salamander fried, and then a tomato with an egg in it, or something like just something weird. And they're like, all right, and then just boil it for 3 days, and the whole town feasts. Like. That the bug version of that is what you were just describing, Kyle. Of like you got this one has it's a scorpion with bees on the inside with ants in that. I got quite a bit into research. Research actually makes it sound like I was learning things. I wasn't, but I was watching people cook in medieval ways on YouTube, and there is something oddly satisfying and interesting about it, like the old meat pies. And how, you know, it's very, I don't know, it sounds stupid, but it is very Game of Thronesy.
Coincidentally, I've been watching on YouTube a guy who specializes, his whole channel is swords and sword fighting. All he does is talk about the different kinds of historical swords, how they did and would hypothetically stack up in real life. And then he talks about the kinds of steel and the way the blades are made and how they're sharpened and what kind of sheaths they were kept in. And he reads these 17th, 18th, and 19th century historical documents. And he talks from swordsmiths and swordsmen and sword fighting schools. And if that weren't enough, he also is a sword fighter. He gets in it's a bit like the kendo protective gear, but it's even more hardcore because they're using sabers and stuff. And they have like sword fights with all kinds of historical swords. I've been watching that guy a lot. I've been running around the house with my fucking katana, like looking for some stuff to cut. Just hoping
everybody's happy about that.
No, they hate it. They hate it. They hate it. Because like the guy has this whole series of videos talking about katanas, and he's reading these historical tales of like how like the Japanese swordsman like would make a big sweeping blow when he unsheathed it and gut people, and so I'm walking around unsheathing my sword, chopping bushes down and stuff.
So when we talked about like end of childhood and end of the show, I mean like Kyle's walking around with a katana. I just returned from summer camp. Like maybe this thing never ends. Maybe we just play this game on childhood land the whole time.
Yes, that was your first question when you were like, when does childhood end? Kyle should have just been like, end. It doesn't continue for most. No, probably like mid-30s, right? Like,
as he sits there with his sword. Yeah.
I had my perceptions of katanas shattered from a YouTube video a couple of years ago, where it was a guy who was like, he was either holding like a European broadsword from like the same time period as a katana, or he was holding the katana and he was swinging one sword at another. And I was like, oh, this katana is going to slice right through that bullshit European sword. That's Japanese 17th century technology or whatever. And then just crack. The European one was fine. It didn't look like anything had happened. There was a tiny little nick and the entire katana shattered. Like, not the whole thing. It didn't like shatter like the shards of Narsil or anything, but it cracked in half and the whole second half ended. And that was, I didn't like, it was one of those facts that you learn and you're like, God damn it. Like, I wanted to be able to not believe that that's how reality is. Just like you want to believe that when you stab a zombie in the head with a knife, for some reason it sounds like metal scratching against metal.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because that's what that guy's channel's about. Like the thing is, I don't know enough about sword fighting to know, but he seems to, and I don't think that that's an accurate representation of like what would be happening in a sword fight. The two like clanging blade to blade into one another. I was watching a video last night, and he was talking about I don't know how like. I don't know, with the broadsword versus the katana, like both, he's like, yeah, the broadsword guy could just walk in and do this. Of course, the katana guy does this, and you both die. And he talks about, and then I watched a whole video where he talks about the difference between when there's fear of death and injury and the hypothetical bullshit that like everybody else thinks is real. He's like, because they did some scenario where like one man with a spear kills like 8 men with swords if they have to come through a doorway to get him. And he's like, but why would they keep coming through the doorway? They wouldn't. Because they wouldn't want to die. Because the guy in front of them just died. They'd take a step back and they would wait, because that's what would happen. Really. And he goes through all these different scenarios of how sword fights would go down and how each blade like has advantages and disadvantages. It's really fun to watch.
That is
he
interesting.
seems super hyped about it.
Yeah. What's it called again?
I'll find it and link you. It's on my other computer and like the related, the recent results and stuff. I don't have it here, and I couldn't call it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I bet sword fights would be so different if we saw like a bird's eye view of what an actual medieval or ancient sword battle, like a big scale one, looked like. That'd be so cool. Like, I wonder what would be happening there. Like, I'm sure that expert guy knows a lot of it, but there's definitely shit that we don't know they used to do. Like, or maybe these historians are just keeping their facts under wraps. So like when people start to like think that their job's bullshit, and they're like, oh, actually I got this other thing about Mesopotamian daggers that I learned. So here you go. Or like,
because most of what I know, like from school and movies, just doesn't seem possible, right? Like when there's 100,000 people, or 100,000 versus 70,000, right? It's like 170,000 people engaged in hand-to-hand combat. What does that really look like? Are there like 200 at the front fighting and like barbecues in the back? Like, are there cookouts? Are there women there like cheering? Like what does it really look like? 100,000, 150,000 people in hand-to-hand combat.
The lines would be like would be so big that it wouldn't be like, all right, I'm gonna go check on our left flank real quick, and then I'm gonna take 2 minutes, zoot on over to the right flank and check. It'd be like you'd be going huge distances to get across to different areas of the battlefield.
Are people intentionally? Because if the front line is really well defined, right? It seems like you could just kind of like constantly sort of be 5 people from the front and stay alive forever.
No, that would
that wouldn't work.
Those battles work. Like, it doesn't actually stay like one-on-one like a big blob. Like as it rages, like units and shit are doing stuff, and like all the lower generals are ordering shit, and so like at the end of a battle, it's not even like the last contingents are like fighting off. It's like there's tons of small battles all over the place from where like the whole battlefield has gotten destroyed. So maybe you'll be in one area of the battlefield being like, we're kicking ass, yeah, and then half or a quarter mile, third of a mile to your east or whatever, your guys are just getting their shit pushed in. And so like,
I think we'd have a better
eye on it.
It depends on which battle. I think we should just pick a battle and like figure out what happened there, because you can't just talk in generalities. Like every battle would be different. But if you look at like individual ones, and there's historical representations. There's drawings. There's paintings. There's tales of how it all went down.
Written by the winners.
Not always. Sometimes there's you get it from both sides, and you get it from third party people that were also there. But not necessarily to figure out who was right and who was wrong in fighting the war, but maybe just, well, where did the cavalry come into play? How did that work? How many cavalry were there? Did they sweep to the left flank or the right flank? When did they sweep to the left flank? Only after the front folded? What made the front fold? Was it a feint and then they retreated? Like, those battles were crazy complicated with all those guys raising flags as signals, and like you'll see that in the movies like Braveheart, you just see a big mass of men. When in reality, I think you'd have like units, like many units within that giant unit, and smaller units within those smaller units, each commanded by sergeants and higher up officers who like know their men. And if you see Carls like hiding from the front line, you fucking you see it right away. Like Carl's not up on the front line where he's supposed to be. And,
Yeah, it's not like one guy is in charge of 100,000 people. It's like, one guy's in charge of his
Army.
10 generals, and then those 10 generals have 10 people, and those 10 people have 100 people or whatever. Like
that link is that link that I linked you to is the.
I just watched
channel,
part of it. That's really cool.
and it's a bit of what he calls saber sparring, which looks like what every kid ever wanted to do. Like if this had been an option growing up instead of like anything else, this is what I would have done. Right? If there was somewhere where I could go dress up like this and sword fight in the afternoons. Oh my god. Like wait, you go to ninja school? Fuck baseball camp.
Yeah, it would be
This doesn't look like real ninja
difficult.
sparring to me. I feel like they're, when you're a kid and you sword fight, you really have this like implicit agreement just to hit swords. Like, oh, we'll just smack swords back and forth. I don't see anyone going for real kill shots, like a stab forward.
I think that's because we don't know enough about sword fighting.
That could be.
I feel
think
like
that-
if one of them went in for a kill shot, maybe the other one would just kill them.
Yeah.
Because there's no way sword fighting is like Jon Snow runs in there and goes like, oh, one parry, and then a slice to the chest for you and a stab for you and back to this guy. Like, that just doesn't
I don't
pan
know. It
out.
says expert saber sparring, so I just took his word for it.
It should have a video. Expert saber spar versus first-time gun user.
Yeah, that would be.
First-time
It's interesting you
firearm.
say
The
that.
best video
He's
on the
re-
internet in
he
this
reads
genre
this
is Wings of
historical-
Redemption and his friend.
He reads
with
this historical
with the
account
Sharpies.
talking about these early Colt pistols, these 5-shot revolvers, and he's like, now if this thing's been loaded for a week or 2 weeks, you're lucky if 1 in 3 rounds goes off. And he reads this like direct historical account of a man who saw it go down, where 2 men with pistols were set upon by one Japanese man with a katana, and he killed them both, delivering 16 blows to the second man, each of them death, which was a really colorful way of saying he got shot twice in the chest by this Colt pistol and chopped both men to death, and then died himself because his pistols were so shitty at the time.
Wow.
But who wrote that down? Like the samurai's brother? 'Cause the
No,
samurai, like,
source. No, it was a third-party European source. That's why it's interesting. Like he's reading from like European manuals about Japanese swordsmen and swordsmiths. This guy's interesting.
right after that European like fucking journalist went around the corner, that samurai stood up and wiped all the sriracha off his goddamn kimono and was like, "Do you think they bought it? Do you think they go back and tell them we are very cool?"
Japan to go hard.
Yes.
Rap?
Anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I thought this was a top 10% PKN.
Top 2%.
Except for all that hot talk.
Ah, strong point.
That was quick.
No, it wasn't. All right. PKN 141.